Can you imagine eating only fruit all day? Can you imagine doing that? Well, today we're going to talk to Mark Blake, who is a fruitarian and who eats a primarily fruit-based, plant-based diet. I'm here outside in my gorgeous Tanzanian garden. I'm Ama Opari from Food for the Soul, and here on this channel I share tips and tools that you can use to create a healthy diet and lifestyle that you can stick to, so you can live your whole and healthy life and bring your gifts out into the world. If that sounds like something you're interested in, be sure to click the subscribe button and don't forget to turn on the notifications so you'll find out every time I upload a new video. So have you ever met somebody and knew, this felt like from the beginning like it was somebody that you've known all your life? Well, this is Mark. This is Mark Blake, and I met him at the beginning or at the very end of 2021, and it was like that. It was like we've known each other all our lives, and I've adopted him as my younger brother. And he's taught me a lot, and I thought I would love to have him come on to Food for the Soul and share some of his insights with you. So first, just Mark, welcome. Thank you for being here and taking the time out.
Thank you.
And so what are you doing here in Tanzania?
Hanging out. No, let's see. This particular trip is kind of a personal retreat for me. Mm-hmm. So I don't know if I'm talking to you or the camera.
You can do both.
We could do both, okay. So like a personal retreat for me, I retired from 33 years in the hardwood floor business, which meant 33 years of chemicals and sawdust and all of those things. And my body has allowed me to tolerate it a lot more than I should have, but it was time. Mm-hmm. And so I saw it, I had some physical things that said it's time to do that. So it was time to just do my personal retreat. But I came here to Tanzania about 7 years ago, shortly after my dad passed, or actually just shortly after my dad passed, and I fell in love with the country. But I was planning on being back in a year, and I kept saying I was going to come back, and it just, the peacefulness of it, mm-hmm. The greenery, the abundance of fruits and vegetables, and the demeanor of the people. And during when the COVID thing took place, I just felt the need to get out of the country and create mm-hmm. my own freedom and live life on my terms. So I did a lot of traveling. I did about 6 weeks in Jamaica, 2 months, a month at a time in Mexico. And then I went to Costa Rica hoping to get into Nicaragua, and where I have a farm there, and I wasn't able to get there. And then I was like, okay, what's plan B? And I said, it's time to go back to Tanzania. So I came and I stayed in Tanga Town, which is a few hours from here, more hot climate, mm-hmm. More rich with fruits and things like that. And I really liked it, and it resonated. And then came back to the States for a quick regroup, which turned into 7 months. And then I got back here, I think in November, and I heard about Arusha, and Arusha area is a little cooler and more temperate. And I came here, and to look, and I thought it was cool. And I went back to Tonga, and Tonga didn't feel right again at that time. So I ended up here, and so now I'm here sorting it out.
Are you here to stay or?
That's a trick question. Even where I'm here to stay means for right now. I still
You're still a
kinda
gypsy
still
man.
upscale gypsy. I've upgraded my gypsy skills, so I'm an upscale gypsy, and so I'm sorting it out.
Okay.
But this is, for now, this is my regroup place. And as I go, I still like to get back to the States and spend some time with Mom. And I have some commitments with some music festivals in New York and DJ gigs in Atlanta. And so that'll be about a month and a half. And so the next time I come, I'll be able to do an extended stay because I won't have other prior commitments. So I'm thinking from the end of October to the spring, or late spring or early summer, and then we'll
see from there. All right. Well, we'll talk a little more about your DJ stuff later.
Okay.
How long have you been plant-based, vegetarian? I mean, vegan,
Vegan,
whatever you call
yeah.
it. What do you call it?
Yeah.
What are you?
Well, I'm vegan. I'm old school, so plant-based is like new stuff. That's for the new people, and that's good for marketing. But I'm a vegan for 24. February was 24 years.
Wow, long time.
Yes. And then raw vegan for, I guess that would be 20, 19 or 20, I think 20. And neither one of those were a goal or a plan. It just, it came into that.
What made you do it?
Well, initially being a vegetarian was, or just considering diet having any impact, was my chiropractor. I had been going to him for 7 years, 3 or 4 times a week for back adjustments. And I was, I guess, 25 years ago. And he told me I needed to stop doing floors because I had stage 3 degeneration of the spine and arthritis of the back. And that it was just going to keep getting worse, and blah, blah, blah. And anyway, he, when I went to visit him, he was gone for a couple of weeks. He was on a seminar. When he came back, he suggested we try no dairy for 3 weeks. He said he was at a seminar, and they were saying African Americans and people of color. I don't think he said people of color. He didn't say Negro, but he, I don't know, but whatever he said. I mean, he's Dr. Tim, he's a German guy, he's fantastic. But he said, don't tolerate dairy. He says they were saying, although they may have been to the northern climates and before anyone else, they didn't really stay. And the Europeans were here, so they've adopted over centuries and centuries to dairy, and that we don't tolerate. He says that the seminar said really all people of color are allergic to dairy. It's just to what degree it shows up. So he said, let's try no dairy. So I had to find out everything that was dairy. So I think dairy, I was thinking milk, cheese, and eggs. I didn't know about no fat, low fat, whey, casein. That's the Elmer's glue. It's casein, and all of these different things. So I did the 3 weeks of no dairy. So after 7 years of several visits a week, in 3 weeks, my back pain was gone.
Wow, that's amazing.
And I started going to him once a month just to adjust the, what they call a subluxation and the alignment, but not for pain, just for maintenance. So that kind of gave me an idea. And then I followed this guy, Gary Knoll, really for his social and political. But then I saw he had a health show, and I listened to that, and things kind of made sense. But when I was 34, my body really started going downhill. I started getting a couple white patches in my hair when I was 27. And at 34, I started losing my hair, receding hairline. And it was a lot. I was aging and losing my hair faster than my friends in high school who were losing their hair fast. So I got like zipped and went on and lapped them around. And I said, something is not right. This isn't just like normal aging, but the doctor said it was different. But it's just like I knew, and I didn't have a picture of me like at 70, 80, like old and invalid. I just like I looked older, but I was vibrant, so it was going against what my beliefs was, and and I didn't have the answer, but I knew it was frustrating. So everything was going around. Sexual performance, like was like and they didn't have all the help me things. Yeah, yeah. So and my energy, and I used to be able to jump really good. I could dunk, almost get my head up to the rim. Actually, get my head up to here at one time, but then I could like barely touch the rim. The back was stiff, and all of these things. And I had some things I didn't know what they were called at the time, but I had low blood sugar, hypoglycemic, stagnant liver, parasite overgrowth, parasites, candida overgrowth and parasites, and low energy. I slept about 8 hours. I had to get up with the alarm clock and still needed a 2-hour nap. So I was just depleting, really, really depleting. And I had got this book, Back to Eden by Jethro Kloss. And my friend Artie gave it to me for my 35th birthday. I don't know why he gave it to me. And I looked at him like, what the hell is this? Like, give me cash if you don't know what to give me. And that thing sat on the shelf until I was 39. The only reason I kept it is in case when he came by, he said, yeah, how's the book come? I could say, oh, yeah. That's where I was in my life anyway. But at 39, I picked it up and I started reading things. I was reading this book by Paul Pitchford, Healing with Whole Foods and Chinese Traditions. And I had always read about the hypoglycemic, and it didn't seem to pertain to me because I ate a lot and I had high energy, but I forgot it was high energy and then low energy. But one day it resonated, but I opened up that Back to Eden and it made sense. I thought that was like for hippies. Like that was like that, vegetarians is like hippies and those kind of people. People selling bottled water, but we're talking about 20-something years ago. That's like for those kind of people. And it kind of resonated. And then, but I didn't know where to go. But I had this book, Gary Knowles had 1 year to change your diet. And in it, it was like every 2 weeks, add something healthy and take out something unhealthy. So, of course, dairy was the first thing, and that was already done. And then I did the, I think it was honey and instead of sugar. And then it was like, instead of coffee, it was green tea. And I kept doing that. And at the end of the year, I was a pescatarian. I just ate fish, and I felt incredible. So I didn't even know about the different types of vegetarian. I had never heard of vegan. So I was pescatarian, and I felt incredible. And all of these things were gone. All of these, except for the hypoglycemia, that was still there. And that took some better understanding. But anyway, after 6 months of pescatarian, of eating fish, and I just ate fish. I didn't eat like seafood, just fish. I just lost the taste for it. So it wasn't like, that was one of the healthy things I was adding. So it wasn't like, okay, now we give up fish. So I got rid of the fish, and then it was like a new level of energy. But I had to deal with, because I'm naturally slim, but I was like 198, but like chiseled cut. And I went down to like 170 in like 2 months. But then it came back to like 175, 180, and then about 180, and I balanced out. And although I'm tall, I'm 6'5", and that seems small, but my body is not like, I'm not puny. Right. I just say that. Right. So.
And like I know now you're like Energizer Bunny, always go, go, go. Was that? Did that come with the diet change?
Well, that came with the diet change. But in the first couple of years, I had to tackle the hypoglycemia, the low blood sugar, or pre-diabetes. So I changed, and I actually, although I know different now, I did very little fruits, and I did a lot of green juices, and that was good for me in that time. And it took about a year where, maybe a year, and I noticed it was gone, and I wasn't, but I was still kind of paranoid about the fruits. So that was just from whatever I was getting. And I did that, and I was coming along good, and after about a year or two, I got rid of the soy. Because after like the second year, and I had my niece, my grandniece, and I was making formulas for her, and I noticed the soy after a couple of days would make her mucousy, so I had to make my own. And so I got rid of the foods that taste like food. And then that was a lot better. So that would be a cheat for us. Like there was a restaurant called Sunflowers, and it had like Japanese, Chinese cuisine, and mock this, and so that was like a cheat thing. But more and more, I didn't want to pay the price of the next day how I felt. So energy was really good, and I was working out regularly, and I wasn't thinking about health things anymore, like ailments and things like that, no medications. And then I think 3 years in, I went to a raw vegan workshop. I didn't even know what it was, but my friend Clara, she's like my big sister. She's my spiritual guru, Clara. And she's like, I think my big sisters are all like up to here to me. So that must be.
That's why I called you my younger brother,
so
because you're not my
universe is
little
like
brother.
giving me humility and patience. So Clara had, she had one with the raw vegan she took me to, but I wanted to share this other one I went to first because it was pretty good for me. So me and my son's mom, Cheryl, we went to this vegan potluck workshop, and there was an exhibit there, and they had a speaker. I don't know what she was speaking about, but in the intermission and afterwards, we was talking to all of these people, and they were really big people, and me and Cheryl both little puny things, and when they was like, how long? We was like, yeah, well, we've been a year, 2 years. And they were like, oh, yeah, no, I've been 20 years. And I've been 30 years. And then we looked at each other and we said, well, maybe we're doing the wrong thing. Because we just thought, at some point we was just going to blow up. So we didn't know about junk food, vegan, and vegetarian, all of that stuff. So I just wanted to clarify that, because vegan doesn't equate to healthy. There's more to it to that. So anyway, I went to this workshop, a seminar by the Raw family, the Patenkos, a family from Russia. And I didn't even know what it was, but I was fascinated by it. And when they talked about it, it made sense. And I was like, and it tastes good. And I said, this is worth trying. I want to give this a shot. So I did that for about 3 months, and I wasn't doing well with it. I was like withering away, and it wasn't like cleansing reaction. It was like, and I was like 149 pounds, and I didn't realize it. I was like, okay, they might lock me up, and
Put your feet into
juice a steak for me. Juice this guy a steak. And so I went back to the cooked foods, although I always ate a lot of raw, because I ate salads and I did smoothies and I did a lot of green juice. And I did that. And a year later, I went to another raw vegan workshop. This guy, Doug Graham, and he talked about, his was called 80-10-10, but mostly fruit. And I was coming from that afraid of fruit, but I had a better understanding of it. So I tried that, and it was like maybe 50% of my diet was fruit, or like almost half and half, greens and fruit, and some nuts and seeds. And I just felt incredible. I just felt, and it was like an energy, maybe not since I was a child, that had felt like, where we would just get up and go out, don't have breakfast, and go out all day and come in the evening on just fumes. And I felt that, and it was good, and there's a lot of mental clarity, and I kind of stayed with that. But I remember a year after being raw vegan, I went to my eye doctor, and I had lost my glasses maybe 3 years prior to that, and I just got tired of spending $100 and something for glasses, and like I'd keep them for 3 months and lose them or break them. And anyway, I said, let me go and get the eyes examined. And Dr. Chin, that was her name, and she got the eyes examined. She said, oh, so you had the surgery?
Oh.
I said, what surgery? She said, for the stigmatism and the cataract.
The LASIK, huh?
Yeah. I said, no, like, what do you mean? I didn't know what she's talking about. She said, you had the surgery. And I said, why, do my eyes look different? She says, no, your vision is perfect. She said, actually, it's better than perfect. It's like 15-15. I said, no, I didn't have the surgery. I changed the diet. She said, no, you had the surgery.
Diet
She
couldn't do it.
said, I'm not just an eye doctor, I'm a doctor. You can't reverse stigmatism, and this is not reversible.
Wow.
So that's been like 18, 19.
So you haven't worn glasses since then?
No, and I read like this. Like I told.
And you can see far and near?
Near, yeah. And I think a lot of the vision was, of course, the diet changed, but was equated to the low blood sugar. Because with diabetics and people like that, they tend to need glasses and stuff like that. So, and I know the sun would really bother my eyes during that time when my sugar was fluctuating. Now I'm like a sun baby, I'm out. So, so that changed, and maybe 10 years in, I went to a seminar. Like they had a health fair where everybody showed their branding, and I got this free exam from a chiropractor in Herndon, where I was living at in Virginia, and free exam and blah, 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 blah. And I went to see the exam, and he said, well, look, the good news is you got, no, he said the bad news is you have degeneration of the spine, but the good news is that it's stage 1, and we can stop it right here. And I had like the biggest grin, and I started laughing. I said, oh my God, I can't believe it. And he says, were you expecting to have this? I said, no. He says, so, and he was like wondering why. I said, well, I was in stage 3.
Oh.
And he says, no, you couldn't be in stage 3 because you're in stage 1 now. So we can keep it there, but there's not a way to go back. And I said I was in stage 3. I said I was going to chiropractor for years. He says, no. I said, really? I said, I like x-rays and everything. He said, you bring me x-rays and you get 6 months of chiropractic visits.
Wow. Well, you won't need them anymore, will you?
Well, I got 6 months worth of chiropractic because I bought the x-rays, and he was. So for a while, I worked with him, with his patients, changing their diet. But he was getting flat.
From?
His medical peers that was supposed to do that.
That's not a good business model.
Yeah. So from then on, it's been like that. And then the last few years, it's been mostly fruit. Trying it out. And also, I travel a lot to warmer climates. And I found when I'm in the tropics, I want more fruit. But I don't eat as much, especially because the fruit is more mineral then. But when I'm back north, especially when I'm sanding floors, I want greens as well. And I think that's a lot, too, with the chemical toxicity. And I guess my body wants the chlorophyll to help get those metals out. Yeah. So, and then today I'm mostly fruit, and I don't, and it's not, randomly I'll eat other stuff because I do, but fruits I feel the most centered and balanced. And actually, other than a smoothie, I prefer to just eat one fruit, not like a fruit salad. Yeah, so I feel more satisfied, and just for me, I know when I'm full. And that was one of the things. I didn't feel bad when I was cooked food vegan. I felt great, but it was too easy to overeat. Like I could feel tight, but don't feel full. Whereas with the raw you know, especially simple foods, I know when I'm full.
You're not tempted to just keep eating and
Eat it,
eating.
right.
Mhm.
And usually the only time with that with raw is if I'm getting gourmet food, you know, that really good tasty stuff, and because it's a lot of different combinations. But now just like a fruit tastes good, or sometimes just eating some lettuce or kale just by itself and just have a taste for that, or some mint leaves or something that feels good for me.
So when you're in your fruit rhythm, what do you eat in a typical day?
In a typical day, let's see. Generally, I'm not eating until about 12 or 1. So I might have, if I'm somewhere where I can blend something up, I like to blend up watermelon. And that might be, sometimes that's it for the day. And I might blend a couple of bananas with it to just feel a little heavy, so I'll do that. Or I might have, like if I'm getting good mangoes, then that's it until my skin turns orange. I'm going to have
You're just
mango.
going to eat mango, mango, mango.
Mango, especially if I get Julie's or Haitian mango, so I'll do that. If I get good papaya, I can eat just papaya. Berries and strawberries, I eat, those are kind of like snack foods.
Okay.
Like a box of strawberries would be like a little snack. I don't know why, but I do eat the green top one or two. I
put them in my smoothie. I don't eat them.
yeah. So, and if I get grapes with seeds, then, especially the black ones, then I'm good with that for just itself. Like, that's like all day.
So you would basically eat 1 or 2 meals,
Yes.
fruit meals a day, mono meals.
Yes. And it's not, usually when I have salad, like a fruit salad, if someone made it for me or I went out. And that, and I enjoy it. I don't eat the big, even regular salads or fruit salads like I used to have. Yeah, so, and especially if the fruit is nice and ripe, then that's it. So those are some of my favorite mono meal fruits.
Okay.
Jackfruit is another one, soursop, pineapple, and nezberry. Yeah, nezberries. And sweet sop, sugar apple, or custard apple.
And then you say sweet watery fruit, yes?
Sweet watery fruit. Yeah. So. Like a banana, I'll show you banana's not sweet watery, but I'll eat some, like a mamey, which tastes like cooked sweet potatoes, which is delicious. But that's like a fatty fruit. Jackfruit would be more like a fatty fruit. So sweet watery is like as it's described, like when it's in your mouth, it tastes sweet, it's juicy, and it's watery. So that digests the fastest. And it's like an electric energy I experience. When I eat that way, when I finish it, I'm still energized. And even, and even like the heaviness when you eat some meals, I don't really feel that. And if I feel anything, it might be for 20 or 30 minutes. That's it. And it just, it's like, feel it like just going through. It's like it was like an intravenous. It came in the body, and that's good. Yeah.
I remember on Facebook, Orville.
Yeah.
The first time I saw him on Facebook, we became friends, and he in his bodybuilding and eats only fruit. And I was like, this is weird. Why would anybody do this? And then when I met you, you were getting ready to start your next 30-day fruit feast that you do, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And I decided to join on because I had wanted to do a juice fast myself, but I didn't have a juicer at the time, and so I thought, let me try this. And I must admit that I loved it. It was much easier to do than the juice fast, and I felt amazing. And it has changed how I eat. I'm not eating all fruit, but I eat a whole lot more fruit. Fruit is a good portion of what I eat every day when possible. But I know people always have questions about, how can you get all the vitamins and nutrients you need, or, what, isn't there a problem? There's too much sugar, all this stuff. Tell us why all of that is BS.
Because BS sells. But no. Well, a lot of it is based on not a clear understanding of our physiology, our anatomy, and how we operate. And another part is based on myths and concepts from the medical community, and even in our vegan community, in our plant-based. I'll try to sound modern. Our plant-based community. So, one of the things is protein. So we'll talk about that. So, the body has a process. I think it's part of ATP, but the body makes its own protein from amino acids. So proteins, or whatever we call that molecule, or whatever that assimilation is called, from amino acids. Plant food, and particularly fruits, are loaded with amino acids. And even in our basic 8th or 9th grade biology, wherever you went to school at, amino acids are the building blocks of protein. So we have them, and it's there. But the difference between plant food, and especially raw plant food, is it's in amino acids form, so it's ready, and the body doesn't have to take its own enzyme energy to break it down to amino acids so that it can assemble it. With animal foods, we don't translate a cow protein molecule into ours. It's a whole different structure. We have to break that down in ammonia, and there's a lot of unhealthy byproducts, and those molecules are bigger than ours. So it takes a lot of energy to break that down to a somewhat usable form. So when they say, a gram of protein for every pound of weight, and I don't know how they measure that, because I can't imagine someone 5'10", 200 pounds, that's a massive bodybuilder, and someone 6'8", 200 pounds, they just may not in activity. So the whole concept, when you really think about it, makes no sense. Our activity level is different. So the reason so much of those needs is that so little is absorbed.
Right. So when they say that animal protein is more easily obtainable or a better source of protein, that's all bunk.
No, it's true. It is a better source of protein.
Okay.
But we need amino acids.
Oh, okay. We don't need that protein.
We don't need protein.
Oh, okay.
We need amino acids.
I see.
So that protein gets converted to amino acids.
Then we can make it into what we need.
So we can cut out the middleman. And so that's our little joke. We used to say, where do you get the protein? We say, same place as the cow, cut out the middleman. So we get it from that. And if we're eating sufficient, and I'm not going to say calories, sufficient food for our intake and a variety, then we're going to get all of those different amino acids. So this fruit and this plant and this leaf might be high in this amino acids and that, but the body puts that all together.
So you don't need to worry about, okay, I've eaten this kind, I need to eat this over here. You just eat variety and you're okay?
Yeah, no, I checked with the other primates, and they said, well, we just eat, and we're stronger than you, so
follow our lead.
And we don't get the diseases. And I mean, that's a good example of like animal with almost identical skeletal structure, molecular structure, and digestive, everything, and yet a 120-pound chimp is stronger than the strongest bodybuilder.
Right.
Yeah, so so it's a different. And as I looked at people that were raw vegan and plant based and that worked out and bodybuilders, it was a different strength. And even me, like that's what my friends like. It's like
Yes, yesterday I saw this man put his hands on the hood of the car and lifted his feet up behind me. I was like, what?
so, and then my friends was like, "How do you lift that machine?" Well, it's my sanding machine. It's 208 pounds. And my friend Greg, I said, "Well, here, you take the motor." So he calls it the jet plane engine because that's like 104 pounds. But it's awkward position, but it is a different strength that I'm tapping into, and I'm like just really getting into it. And although I like lifting weights because I'm about 7-8 pounds heavier, but it's muscle. But I feel better calisthenics, push-ups and pull-up, and
Body weight things.
yeah, and it's a better muscle endurance. But that's just for me, and also I don't need the extra weight. I'm not a bouncer at a club or getting into street fights. I'm strong enough for everything I need to do.
So what about diabetes and the sugar and all of that stuff? I mean, I know the answer, but
Well,
tell our viewers here.
okay, so most of the diabetes, the blood sugar imbalances, is the insulin can't get to the sugar. And generally it's blocked from cholesterol, plaque, and really fats.
So it's too much fat in the diet.
Yeah. And so it can't get to it, so it continues to produce more insulin because it needs to get in there. So so I guess like a lot of times people think if they're taking the medicine for it and they check their blood sugar, then that's managing. So one, that still doesn't mean your blood sugar isn't fluctuating throughout the day, and also it doesn't address what's in the blood.
Yeah, I saw a really good video that was talking about how, your muscle cells feeds off of that sugar.
Yes.
And that plaque and the cholesterol and like that clogs up the receptor so that sugar can't get into the muscle. So that's why there's so much sugar in the blood. It's because it can't get in where it needs to be.
Right. So if you remove that, like with my dad, I took him down to Ann Wigmore about 10 years ago, 9 years ago. Him and Mom, I took him there.
Hippocrates?
Yeah. So I usually say the Ann Wigmore because there's two Hippocrates.
Oh, okay.
So the Ann Wigmore is the one in Puerto Rico. So I like that. It's a grassroots movement. And he had been on his diabetes, I think it's metformin and some other thing. One's for high blood pressure, one's for diabetes. He had been on that for 25 years. In 4 days, he was off of that. And running, he was 69, running 4 miles a day.
That's wonderful. Yeah. I've seen other really miraculous things happen when people change their diets.
Yeah, so even on a all fruit, even someone diabetic can do it. Now, insulin dependent is not that you can't do it, but you have to work towards. That's a longer process. But if you're just taking a medication, just doing the first few days of low glycemic fruit. But, about 4 days, 5 days is enough for the fat and stuff to get out of the blood.
So I must say that this is something you do have to be careful about, because if you're doing that and you're still taking your medication, then you're likely to have low blood sugar. So talk to your doctor, or measure yours, do something. Don't just get advice from somebody who knows.
Yes, but if you're doing the fruit and you're doing the low glycemic, and that's all you're doing, then there's nothing to elevate because you're not getting a high level.
But I'm just saying, if you're doing that and still taking your medication, then the medication may make your blood.
Right. So if you're monitoring it every day, so if if you become a little lower, then that's, as a matter of fact, even this, and the same goes with blood pressure medicine, because I had a good friend of mine, Madeline, she won't mind mentioning her name, but that's like big sister too.
Got a lot of sisters.
Huh? Yeah, I got a lot. Yeah. So, and none of them are finding a wife for me. I'll let you all know that. I'm not in a rush. But I was battling with her because she didn't want to stop taking the blood pressure, and she was getting dizzy because her blood pressure was low. And I said, I'm going to kick you out of the fasting group. That you have to stop taking. And she did, and she was great. And that was like one day 5 or 6. So she finished the 30 days, and she did fantastic. And about 2 months later, she said, I need your help. She said, my blood pressure is high again. And I think I said, do you need my help in devising another solution other than what you already know?
Yeah, you're tough.
And she said, I just needed you to say it to me.
You're like straight no chaser. You tell the truth. This is a good segue into your fruit feast. Tell us about that you do.
Okay, so I think this is year 8, I believe, or 7. I started out as a friends and family fast, and what I wanted to do is give people a chance to experience making some adjustment plant-based at wherever they were at. So I had different options: cooked vegan, raw vegan, watermelon if that was in season, watermelon with seeds, water fast for some, fruit fast, or coconut water, fresh coconut water fast. So I did that for many years, and about 3 years ago, I noticed that the ones on the raw vegan and the cooked food vegan, they weren't as successful. They put a lot of attention into eating and making these fancy, and they posted the meals and like delicious. So a lot of their day was on what am I going to make to eat, and the success rate just wasn't as good. And when the fast was over, they tend to binge into the other stuff anyway. So I looked at what things, with my personality and coming from a period of addiction 33 years ago, and like, what things was it easier for me to consistently do? So I found the fruit, and initially it was just fruit, but it could be vegetable fruits too. The fruits, or the coconut water, or I didn't mention green juice, or the green juice, or the water for those that was inclined. So I started doing that, and I think I just left the raw vegan. And then eventually I just said I was going to do the fruit or the green juice, because some people like the green juice. And so now coming up, I'm going to just do the fruit.
Oh, just fruit only.
Just fruit only, and not the green juice. And they weren't like the two combined, one or the other. Because I want to, and especially if people are not in a dire situation, I want them to develop a habit of another way of eating, as opposed to adding eating on after the 30 days. So be eating and seeing how this eating does. And so my goal is not that people become plant-based, but it would be nice if they all they'd be called raw vegan or fruitarians. So it's not any of them things. Is to people to have awareness of what their body can do when they take care of it, when they put the right foods, and have 30 days as enough time to have a habit, so I stick with them, so that they can make adjustments, but also if they choose not to, that it will create uncomfortability, like awareness that I'm feeling like crap because I'm consuming crap.
So that they actually can see there's a choice here and there's consequences to that. So
it's really creating personal responsibility and directing them to their own healing.
So how many people would you say you've have gone through your over the 8 years?
I'm going to say easy on average 50 times 8.
So each time you do it,
Yeah,
okay. And so you when you do it, you have 30 days?
30 days. It started out as 21, and I found that 30 days, well, 28 days, just from recovery, is better for habit forming. So I just say 30.
30 days. And then, so when you do it, are you on Zoom? What do you do? How do you do it?
I have on my webpage, which is friendsandfamilyfast.com, I do a daily video each day, and it's kind of a pep talk, but we talk about things. It could be about food, it could be about meditation, it could be about exercise, it could be about healing, it could be about journaling, all things that are part of our healing process. Because although food is about 20% of our well-being, and our mental and spiritual is like 50%, but the food can affect our mental and spiritual.
It's all connected.
Yeah, so,
It's all connected.
and then the exercise. So it's not, the fast is not based on, okay, this is what you have to eat. It's about shifting your lifestyle and taking time and giving yourself 30 days to experience a different way of existing. And just try it on. So not that you always have to do it, or it doesn't make you this or make you that. Just experience that and see if you like that way of loving yourself and how that feels.
Well, I can definitely say it was an amazing experience for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to do it again. When are you doing it again?
October 1st.
Okay.
And this will be my first time starting the fast in a long time when I'm not in the middle of a lot of things. So that's why, like, initially it was going to be the middle of September, but I'm back at the States. I got 3 festivals and all that goes into that. And I said I want to do it when I can relax. And I may be in Georgia for a little bit, and I know I can get coconut.
DeKalb Farmers Market.
Yeah, and I can
the
get
bestest
the
place
yeah,
to
so
shop.
I'll be, if I can get coconut water readily, I'll just do coconut water. Or if not, if they still have watermelons, I wouldn't mind doing 30 days of watermelon or 30 days of grapes with seeds. One of the two.
So I always ask, why do you think, and if so, why do you think being vegan, plant-based, whatever, being vegan and whatever, and however on the spectrum, why is that important for us as people of African descent?
Okay, well, I look at it like a race car, like the top end, or Ferrari, or actual race car. So, and then you have a regular car. So, and not to degrade other ethnicities, it's an analogy. But if not, sue me. But if you take the oil that's supposed to be in your regular car and you put a lower grade, it's not going to run as good. If you take it in that one and you put a low grade, it's going to run really bad. And our bodies don't adjust well to synthetic foods. We're not synthetic. We're electric. We're electric, we're energy, we're life form. So artificial food, dead foods, create an artificial experience, and dead foods create death. in our body. So, and we, since we're the last to be subjected to this way, because like before slavery and all of that, the Europeans and other cultures were eating this denatured foods for centuries. So we were new to this. So when we got subjected, it's harsher on our body. The regular things like, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and all of that stuff. And although, like, we have a saying, it runs in our culture or runs in my family, what runs in our family is our eating habits.
Yes.
So,
yeah, even here in Tanzania, plant-based, even people who don't eat totally plant-based, whole plant-based foods is probably a primary part of many diets.
Yes.
And there wasn't all of that heart disease, cancer, diabetes, like 15, 20 years ago very much here. But as people have started eating
Yes.
more westernized food, more fried food, the rates are going
yes.
right through the roof.
Even like just observing and being around, the average male here in their 60s or 70s has no gray hair. Like that would be uncommon. Like that is just, so just the constitution.
Yeah.
And so it is a big difference, and because they're not exposed to it until recent, it becomes even harsher on them. Just like you'll see people come from other cultures to the U.S. and they get fat quick because they haven't been eating this crap all their life. They come so. It's a big deal. And then also there's a mental clarity, and I just personally find that people that eat closer to the earth tend to be more peaceful. Peaceful. And like even like wearing, I started it from health challenges, not like animal rights and stuff. But after about 5-6 years wearing the animal clothes, like my leather belt and the cashmere coats, it just didn't feel right. And I stopped. And something that's truly amazing is the amount of people that say they're animal lovers and their major relationship with animals is they eat them.
Yes.
So, and it's a different energy, it's just a different energy connection with that. And, we're further disconnected, from eroding and clogging our pineal gland. We're further disconnected from the universal source, our powers, our clarity, our vision, our dreams, our mission. Eating plant-based, and the cleaner plant-based you get, the more that opening is there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
For sure.
and it's there. And you had talked about, enough nutrition and things. And one of the things when they say that the soils are depleted, so. But the squirrels and the monkeys, none of them are like mineral deficient, and they eating from the same soil. So it's not, and we only need small amounts.
So you don't take any kind of supplements or any of that kind of stuff?
No. I do, like I'll have my sea moss, which is a plant, and fruits, and that's it, So no, because it's. When you're supplementing, that means your diet is deficient. So if your diet is deficient, you should change your diet to a sufficient.
Not just pop a pill.
Yeah, to a sufficient.
So tell us, you said something about festivals, you said this or that. I'd like to now introduce you to DJ Blake the Snake.
Blake the Snake. I don't have my white hair today. I'll get that back in a few weeks. I think that's the look for it right now. So I've been DJing since 75.
Long time.
Not yet, so 75. So I was.
So you were just like out of high school, or just in high,
I
still
was
in high school.
high school. I was in
Yeah.
11th grade.
Okay.
I was in 11th grade, so that was, some years ago. we're doing math, so that's 40 something years, 46 years or something like that. And I DJ'd, and I was like the best on Long Island back in the early 80s. I had my own club, and after that, and then I got into the drugs, and by 85 I stopped DJing. I wasn't one that was able to function with the drugs. The drugs was the function. Mm-hmm. That was the activity. And I stopped for about 15 years, and then I started back, and I dabbled in.
Started back DJing.
I was raising family, and it just, I love DJing, but I love family. So it was really a sacrifice. And then about 15 years later, 2000, I started, and I kind of dabbled in it and do some gigs here and there, but not really. And then the whole carrying the crates of records was, and then in 2009, my friend Rudy told me about this software where you could just put your stuff on a little I didn't even know what a hard drive was. Hard drive, you could play the stuff on your computer, and I couldn't conceptualize it, but I said, I don't have to carry the crates of records, because by that time I had over 300 milk crates of records.
That's a lot to carry around.
Yeah, the milk crates that they say private property, don't take this.
Right.
So they must have gave them to me. I didn't take them. Anyway, so I started DJing more regularly, and then in 2013, and I would come in during the summer because I was living in Georgia or Maryland, and I would come in during the summer, and we have our Smith Street Park reunion, or people would hire me to DJ. So I'd come up and do that, and then I'd disappear.
In the New York
in the New York area, and then I'd disappear until next summer. But when I would go, they told me about these house music festivals. So I would go to those while I was up there.
And were you DJing house music at the time before that?
I played everything, so I didn't really separate it. But I played house music, but I played old school everything. But I love like for dancing.
House music's your thing.
House music, my thing. But DJing, I like probably R&B, funk and soul, old school, but everything. So anyway, I would go to the house festivals, and it was just like this magnetic energy. We did our Smith Street Park reunion, which is an annual thing we did, and after that reunion, I said, so when do they have the one on Long Island? And I asked a friend of mine's, Vaughn, he said, well, they don't have one. I'm like, what do you mean they don't have one? And like, how could that possibly be? Mm-hmm. So I said, if I can get a permit to Eisenhower Park by August 2nd, it was the third week in July, by August 1st, do you think we could get 400 people? And he said, you know what, we've never had one, we probably can. So I said, how about 1,000? He said, anything's possible, but this is Long Island. I said, we're going to get over 1,000. So I brought it to some of the other people, and we were doing little parties and stuff. And they were like, yeah, that's great. We got a whole year to plan. And I said, no, this year. And they was like, no, but it's not. We had 7 weeks. And I said, it's this year. Trust me, it's supposed to be.
Is this yes.
So it's supposed to be this year. I said, it's supposed to be this year. And it was like, you and this intuition stuff. And anyway, we got the permit in 7 weeks. And back then, Facebook didn't have like a limit of how many people you invite. So we had like 10,000 people were invited. And the park we was going to have it at Eisenhower 5 days before the event say, you can't have it there. This is the kind of permit. You didn't tell us this. And that was all. It was just going to be too many shaded people there.
Can't have that.
So they said we can't have it there. And this other park, we wanted to have it at first. They didn't have it, but a lady canceled out. So we got it there and almost didn't get it. My buddy called when I said, call when they got it at Hempstead Lake, go and get the permit. And he said, okay, soon as I finish work. I said, no, you need to why aren't you on the road there now? So he went there, he got the permit. When he was leaving, there was a lady coming in to get the permit.
Oh.
So we had the event.
Supposed to be.
Yeah, so we had, I estimate at least 1,200 people, because the parking lot was 580 people, and the parking lot was full. So I just said 2.5 people to a car. And it was like the most amazing thing. So then somehow I just became this promoter because I wanted to DJ more, and I wasn't waiting and begging people to ask me play. And I had this environment I wanted to create for the festivals, that it was like a family cookout, but on a grander scale. And so I had created that. So I've been doing that every year. Even during the first year of the pandemic, I rented a private house that was like over an acre, and I did it. And with people having the room for social distancing. So although the place could hold 2,000, I did it, I capped it off at 500. So I've been doing these house music festivals, and then once a year in the summer I do one that's funk and soul, which is like my favorite, and then the DJing the private gigs. So those are more, I'm starting to get sponsorship and stuff and have more scheduled last year. But those are more like the fast. Those are kind of like my community service to give back, to give them something.
So your one coming up is where and when?
That's in Roosevelt, Long Island. That's our house at the park, Long Island style. And that's our big one. So we hope, I'm thinking this is going to be our biggest one ever.
And did you say the date?
That's September 17th.
September, coming right up.
Yes, and then the day after, we have our closeout at in Far Rockaway, which is my brand New and Used House. So that's going to be the day after, and that'll be really big. And we got some name top-tier DJs heard of, including me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, I was going to say, I've heard you're legendary, that people come out just to hear you. So
yeah, I'm beginning to take that on. I'm beginning to take that on, and I love doing it, and it's a chance to just mingle with people in a passionate way, and and the house then kind of lends to a more peaceful, communal kind of gathering.
one of these days I'm going to catch up on it. He's done a couple of dance parties here, and they've been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I hope to catch you at the house party in New York one time when I'm visiting my family.
Yes.
So tell people, they want to find you, they want to feast, fruit something fast, they want to come to see you. How can they find you?
Okay, so for all of them, you can get me on Instagram, and that's at IG at Mark Blake the Snake, or Facebook at Mark Blake the Snake. My webpage for DJing is djblakethesnake.com, and the fasting page is friendsandfamilyfast.com. And then my podcast is mixcloud.com/Blake the Snake.
And I'll put links to all of that below.
Yes, so that'll be it. And if you contact me, be patient. Sometimes I go on some, sometimes I don't go on the other. But that's all. And I think on one of those, maybe the Facebook, I got a phone contact, the text. Yeah, so they could go on to get that.
Anything else you want to say?
Well, one, I appreciate Alma for having me on, and she's made this experience here incredible. And and the big sister I needed. I'm going to get her some platform shoes so she can be a true big sister. They still make the 18-inch platforms. So no.
Yes, they'd have to be really big platform
Yeah.
shoes.
And-
I'll stand on a stool.
And I really appreciate you and your commitment to bringing plant-based to people and people of color, and also bringing self-awareness of who we are, and you're passionate about that.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate that. So I'll give you a hug.
Okay, this will be good. You have to do it like this, look that way, so this will be our,
Oh,
okay, we can point.
okay.
This will be our screenshot.